And well, India has called Pakistan a rogue state, exposing Islamabad for its role in supporting terrorism. In a hard-hitting statement, India's Deputy Permanent Representative to the UN called out Pakistan for sponsoring terrorism at the launch of the Victims of Terrorism Association Network. Indian envoy Yojna Patel pointed to Pakistani Defense Minister Khawaja Asif's recent admission that his country has been supporting and funding terrorism for the last 3 decades. A revelation that she said surprised no one.
The whole world has heard Pakistan's Defense Minister Khawaja Asif admitting and confessing Pakistan's history of supporting, training and funding terrorist organizations in a recent television interview. This open confession surprises no one and exposes Pakistan as a rogue state fueling global terrorism and destabilizing the region. The world can no longer turn a blind eye.
The envoy in India's right of reply rejected allegations made by Pakistan as baseless. She underscored India's long-standing struggle against cross-border terrorism, beginning her statement by recalling the terror attack in Pahalgam and demanded that the perpetrators and financiers of the terror attack that killed 26 civilians must be held accountable.
The UN Security Council in its statement has said, perpetrators, organizers, financiers, and sponsors of reprehensible acts of terrorism must be held accountable and brought to justice. Acts of terrorism are criminal and unjustifiable, regardless of their motivation, wherever, whenever, and by whomever committed. We reiterate that terrorism in all its forms must be condemned unequivocally.
Now, this as Pakistan continues to provoke India at the line of control in Jammu and Kashmir. In yet another violation of ceasefire, the Pakistani troops resorted to overnight cross-border firing in Khawaja and Baramulla districts, as well as in Akhnur sector. Indian Army said it responded in a measured and effective manner to the provocation by the Pakistani troops. According to reports, India is considering the closure of its airspace to Pakistani airlines, which will force Islamabad to rerouting these planes over China or Sri Lanka to reach Southeast Asian destinations. India is also contemplating a ban on Pakistani ships from calling at Indian ports. Pakistan had shut its airspace to Indian airlines following New Delhi's diplomatic measures against Islamabad after April 22nd terror attack. Meanwhile, Pakistan's Deputy Prime Minister and Foreign Minister Ishaq Dar chaired a high-level meeting on the Indus Water Treaty in the light of India's move to hold the treaty in abeyance. Following the terror attack in Pahalgam, he said the waters of the Indus River system remain a lifeline for 240 million Pakistani people, and that Islamabad will take all appropriate steps to safeguard its due share of water guaranteed by the treaty. Pakistan's Deputy Prime Minister also held a telephone conversation with Qatari Prime Minister and Foreign Minister Sheikh Mohammed bin Abdul Rahman Al Thani. He praised the Qatari Prime Minister of the decisions taken by Pakistan's National Security Committee. In response to recent diplomatic measures taken by India, Al Thani stressed the value of dialogue and diplomacy in resolving dispute between the states. Turkey's President Recep Tayyip Erdogan, on the other hand, has called for de-escalation between Pakistan and India after the two countries exchanged small arms fire in the aftermath of the deadly attack on tourists in Jammu and Kashmir. Well, last week, Pakistani Prime Minister Shehbaz Sharif met with Erdogan in Ankara.
We always underline that we do not want any conflict in our region and beyond. We wish for an immediate de-escalation of the tension between Pakistan and India before evolving into worse. Our foreign ministry and other units are monitoring the situation.